Good morning, Acadiana. It is Friday, March 5th, 2021, and you're listening to Local News Live, a production of AOC Community Media in partnership with the Acadiana Advocate. Their team of journalists print the stories important to our community and state, and we are happy to read you some of those stories. You can hear Local News Live Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on AOC 1, the AOC Community Media channel on YouTube, and on Cypress Street Radio at aocinc.org/CS Radio. You can find the print versions of these stories and more at theadvocate.com. We couldn't bring you this community service without the generosity of our volunteer newsreaders. Today, we're joined by Mandy Ao, who you might recognize as a member of the AOC team. Good morning, Mandy.
Good morning, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for reading. I know we have some stories in the hopper, so I'm going to get out of the way and go listen on Cypress Street. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Thanks a bunch, Matt. All right, let's start with news from Acadiana. More fans in stands. Phase 3 allows UL to increase capacity for baseball and softball. This is an article by Kevin Foote, staff writer. When Governor John Bel Edwards announced Tuesday that the state was moving into Phase 3 of reopening, it prompted a roller coaster of emotion for the University of Louisiana at Lafayette Athletics Department. Initially, officials were thrilled with the words 50% after beginning baseball and softball season under an order that placed a 25% capacity limit on fan attendance. Then came the words, but the mask mandate and social distancing measures will still be in place. At that point, John Dugas, UL's Associate Director of Athletics for Facilities and Event Management, lost all of his enthusiasm. It went from being very excited to, oh well, that really doesn't change anything, Dugas said. Like was the case in football, the reason why 25% doesn't really mean 25% is because of the social distancing measures, which require 6 feet distancing in all directions. Consequently, Cajun Field operated at only 18% in the fall. On Wednesday, however, the athletics department got clarification on exactly what the governor's new edict meant, and the news was an improvement. Under the new guidelines, the social distancing requirement was reduced from 6 feet to 3 feet from the aisles, which allows for additional seating. More than 400 new baseball tickets came available because of the announcement, pushing Russo Park's capacity from 22% to 37%, at least for the next 4 weeks under the new proclamation. I wish we could get closer to 50%, but we're happy about that, Dugas said. Every seat that we can add, that's another fan that gets into the game. That's what keeps us pushing on this. Without fans, it's no fun for anyone. The news wasn't as good for softball. 84 new seats will be added to the grandstand and 50 more in the outfield at Lamson Park. Dugas said baseball benefits from patio and large group seating packages of 10. For the new tickets, the athletic department will reconnect with Ragin' Cajun Athletic Foundation investors who didn't get the opportunity to purchase baseball and softball tickets for the start of the season. Nico Yenko, UL Deputy of External Operations, said the tickets will get prorated for $110 for the remaining grandstands and bleacher seats that will come available. The seat licensing and annual fund, however, will not be prorated. Tickets will still be distributed in vermilion and white packages. If any tickets remain after offers to foundation investors, they will be converted to single-game tickets, but that's considered an unlikely option. We're trying to do it the right way to make sure that as many people get to soak up the diamond sports as possible this spring, compared to what could have been, Yenko said. UL officials said they understand the frustration of baseball and softball fans not allowed to attend the games. Trust me, Dugas said, we're not just going to sit by and wait and have the opportunity to get more seats and not get them. If they call me tomorrow and say you can add 10 more seats, we're going to add 10 more seats. It's about taking care of our fans and supporting our teams. Environmental fine over manure nearly halted Amazon deal in Karen Crow, an article by Kristen Mossbrucker, staff writer. A lingering environmental penalty nearly halted the deal between Seattle-based Amazon.com Inc. and developers of the former Karen Crow horse racing track over ponds where manure collected for years, according to records obtained by The Advocate. Several days before Governor John Bel Edwards' December 22nd announcement that Amazon would build a fulfillment center and employ 500 people in Karen Crow, the land had not yet been sold. A deed was filed on December 21st, one day before the state disclosed the deal, after months of negotiating and non-disclosure agreements to keep the plan, known by its code name Project Bridge, under wraps. Scannell Properties, the site developer for Amazon, was most concerned about potentially $1 million in additional penalties that could be levied by the Environmental Protection Agency through the U.S. Department of Justice, according to emails from the developer to state economic development officials. The seller's attorneys spoke with someone from DOJ, and they advised, that we don't close on the land until the penalties are paid, wrote Matt Boone, development manager for Scannell Properties, in an email to Louisiana Economic Development. This is a huge issue as we are supposed to close Monday, December 14th, and they still haven't even issued the demand letter that states the penalties. Boone said the hang-up would delay the company from signing anything and halt the project. At one point, Boone had estimated that outstanding penalties tied to the former horse racing track could be upward of $1 million. If DOJ would just tell us what the penalties are, we will have them in escrow and it solves any issue they may have, Boone said. Scannell Properties and Amazon did not respond to requests for comment for this story. The seller, Carol Castile, declined comment through a spokesperson. The 900,000 square foot fulfillment center is being constructed on top of a former pond that once held 4.8 million gallons of wastewater from the Evangeline Training Center. There was 8,113 cubic yards of animal sewage that had to be removed after it closed in October 2018. The Evangeline Downs Racetrack and Clubhouse closed in 2003. Evangeline Enterprises, doing business as Evangeline Training Center, had an environmental violation settlement from 2017 that was finally closed late last month, court records show. Evangeline Training Center was required under a consent decree to pay $300,000 in civil penalties related to discharge of pollutants at the site. The initial fine was paid on time, according to regulatory officials. Evangeline attempted to close out the consent decree in October, but it wasn't finalized until late February. The company paid another $215,000 in stipulated penalties, according to state and federal agencies. The former training center that had a practice track, barns, horse stalls, manure storage areas, wash racks, and horse walkers was liable for a civil penalty of $32,500 for each day of violation, in addition to additional penalties of no more than $1 million, according to the original complaint. Since 2013, until its closure, the center had at least 150 horses and sometimes upward of 500 horses for at least a month or longer. Government agencies alleged that the company's training center, which sits on a hill, polluted nearby streams, one of which is a tributary of the Vermilion River, with its 10,500 gallons of wastewater from the horse barns each day, according to samples collected by the EPA. Chemicals such as phosphorus, ammonia, and nitrates alongside fecal coliform or horse manure were found in the wastewater. There were between 3,600 to 16,000 colony-forming units of fecal coliform per 100 milliliters of wastewater, but the standard for bodies of water suitable for recreation is only 400 colony-forming units per 100 milliliters. Meanwhile, the training facility lacked the proper permits for its operation regarding wastewater, and there were 70 times where it rained at least 1 inch at the facility between 2013 and 2016, each of which is a violation. The company was sent a cease and desist order in 2013. It's 9:09 a.m. We're going to take a PSA break this morning. United Way of Acadiana is offering free tax preparation. The United Way of Acadiana is offering free tax preparation services through its Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, or VITA program. The program provides low and moderate income individuals and families with free, reliable assistance with filing federal tax returns. There are 12 filing locations participating this year throughout the Acadiana region. Most locations are by appointment only due to COVID-19 safety restrictions. You can visit unitedwayofacadiana.org/VITA for site locations, the opening dates, and to make appointments. For additional resources, visit myfreetaxes.com to learn more about alternate free or low-cost filing options currently available. The VITA program is just one way the United Way of Acadiana is working. Someone else is going to have to answer the front desk call this morning. Let's see. The VITA program is just one way the United Way of Acadiana is working to help individuals and families achieve and maintain financial stability. Learn about additional programs by visiting unitedwayofacadiana.org. All right, we're going to keep going here with more news from Acadiana this morning. 3 mass vaccination events are set for Acadiana Johnson & Johnson vaccine to be used. This is a staff report. The Louisiana Department of Health on Wednesday announced the first mass vaccination events using the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, including 3 in Acadiana for people who are eligible under the state guidelines. While COVID vaccine supply remains limited, we are excited to have enough vaccine to be able to begin holding mass vaccination events this week across the state to give residents another way to access the vaccine, said Dr. Courtney N. Phillips, Secretary of the Louisiana Department of Health. These events, while important, are just one piece of the larger puzzle that is our vaccine rollout. To ensure everyone has access to the vaccines, including our underserved communities, we know we need a mix of options: hospitals, pharmacies, clinics, and targeted community events. The first week's shipment of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine arrived in Louisiana this week and has been allocated to all 9 public health regions according to population size. Office of Public Health Regional Medical Directors worked with community partners and the Louisiana National Guard to organize events that start this week and go into next week, a mix of mass vaccination events, large-scale community events, and targeted clinics for teachers who are now eligible. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine was authorized for emergency use by the Food and Drug Administration last week. It is given in 1 dose, which makes it more convenient. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is a more durable vaccine, which makes it easier to handle. It can last up to 3 months in the refrigerator, whereas the other vaccines must be stored at very cold temperatures. Most importantly, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine does exactly what we want a vaccine against this terrible virus to do. It is 100% effective at preventing you from being hospitalized or dying, said Dr. Joseph Cantor, State Health Officer. Like the other 2 COVID vaccines, this is a highly effective, safe vaccine, and residents should get the first vaccine offered to them. Upcoming mass vaccination events for the area are Friday, Robichaux Recreation Center in Lafayette. Registration is full. On Monday at Sugarina 713 Northwest Bypass in New Iberia, drive-through from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. To register, call 337-374-7420 or email covid19@iberiamedicalcenter.com. On Tuesday, the Rain Civic Center at 210 Frog Festival Drive in Rain, walk up or drive through from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can register at oph4.timetap.com. Additional dates will be announced as more vaccine doses become available. Police ID man slain in shootout. Officials, veteran fired on officers serving mental evaluation order. This is an article by Katie Gagliano, a staff writer. Louisiana State Police on Thursday identified the Abbeville man killed in a Wednesday shootout with law enforcement officers who were serving him an order of protective custody. Dwight Brown, 41, was shot and killed about 12:20 p.m. Wednesday in the 1300 block of Green Avenue in Abbeville. State Police Troop I spokesperson Trooper Thomas Gosson said dashboard camera and body camera footage show Brown fire on a Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Office deputy and Abbeville Police Department officers when they arrived at the residence to serve Brown the order. An order of protective custody is a document signed by a judge or coroner used to commit a person with mental health problems or substance abuse issues to a treatment facility or the coroner's office for an immediate examination and treatment. The order can be requested by law enforcement or another credible person, such as a relative, if they believe the person is in need of immediate treatment to protect the person or others from physical harm, according to Louisiana law. The order was issued at 11:32 a.m. Wednesday by Vermilion Parish Coroner Dr. Miriam Hutchinson. The order, released by the Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Office, was requested by Brown's mother and sister, who said he was voicing he will go to kill people in church, then women, then white people. The deputy and officers took cover behind a patrol unit, but the deputy was struck. Gosson said Brown then entered the roadway with a rifle and aimed at the officers again, and the deputy returned fire and fatally shot Brown. Brown's body was covered with a tarp in the roadway and later a privacy tent, then was removed from the scene about 2:30 p.m. The injured deputy was taken to a hospital, then transported to a Lafayette hospital for treatment. Vermilion Parish Sheriff's Office spokesperson Captain Drew David said the deputy was released from the hospital early Wednesday evening with injuries that were not life-threatening. David said the deputy was shot once in the upper chest area and was taken to the hospital in a law enforcement vehicle. He was wearing a bulletproof vest when he was shot, the spokesperson said. David said the deputy's identity would not be released by the sheriff's office, referring to state police's ongoing investigation into the shooting. Friends and relatives on scene Wednesday were stunned by Brown's death and mourned the 41-year-old, whom they described as a friendly, easygoing, and kind person who was well-liked by his peers and neighbors. Kirk Robinson, a neighbor, said he heard the gunshots from inside his home Wednesday afternoon and stepped outside to see Brown's body laying in the street. "My heart was broken," Robinson said. Brown was a military veteran who served overseas and the father of 2 sons, the neighbor said. He suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of his military service, a fact known to friends and neighbors in the community. And Robinson said he had seen Brown walking alone in the street, acting oddly and talking or singing to himself on several occasions. Friends who gathered Wednesday said they felt that if Brown had received mental health assistance sooner, his death could have been avoided. It's 9:18. Let's take a look at briefs from staff and wire reports. Waiter steps toward legal marijuana market. Lafayette-based food delivery company Waiter said it is teaming up with Flow Payments to create a specialized platform for the sale and delivery of legal marijuana. The company said the partnership will use Waiter's proprietary delivery technology along with Flow's payment processing capabilities to create a platform that abides by federal and state laws. According to Leafly, a cannabis website, 12 states allow delivery of medical marijuana products and 6 states allow for delivery of recreational products. Major markets for legal marijuana, such as Seattle and Denver, still have a ban on deliveries despite the coronavirus pandemic. Florida is the only state where Waiter operates that allows marijuana delivery. Officials said the partnership will help dispensaries that want to bring in more money while operating within legal guidelines. As the regulatory framework around the cannabis industry within the United States continues to evolve, we see this as a natural step in our own evolution and ability to continue bringing value to our shareholders, said Carl Grimstad, Waiter Chief Executive Officer and Board Chairman. First National Bank purchases Baton Rouge site. First National Bank in North Louisiana has purchased the former Mid-South Bank branch in Town Center at Cedar Lodge in Baton Rouge for just under $3 million. The 116-year-old bank purchased the property at 6919 Corporate Boulevard, property transfer records show. The seller was TCCL I. Macmillan Eagle Partners, LP, a partnership based in Houston that has the same mailing address as Moody Rambin, one of the owners of Town Center. Ricky Hill of NAI Ladder and Bloom, who had the listing for leasing the building, said the owners of Town Center decided to sell the property. Gray Mullins of Gray Mullins Commercial Properties represented First National Bank, and Jonathan Walker of Maestri Murrell Real Estate represented the property owners. The branch is expected to open in the spring, and about the same time, the bank is renamed Louisiana National Bank to reflect its expanded footprint. The Baton Rouge location will be the bank's 9th branch. Alex Mahon, who has spent the past 4 years working locally for Iberia Bank and Bancorp South, will serve as market leader for Baton Rouge. Bumsteers closes awaiting new concept. I believe this is a new article. Let's see. Bumsteers, a Perkins Road overpass hamburger restaurant, has closed and will be replaced with a new concept being developed by Soji owner Chase Lyons. Lyons is partnering with Bumsteers co-owner Chad Hughes to redevelop the space at 3109 Perkins Road in Baton Rouge. The new restaurant will open in the summer. The concept for the new restaurant is still being finalized. The rooftop bar that was the signature of Bumsteers will remain. Bumsteers opened in April 2019, and before that, the building had been home for Crispy Catch. It's 9:21. We're a little early for mid-show, but I believe it's going to be okay to roll right through. We might be able to get more stories in this morning. Now let's first look at Today in History. This is by the Associated Press. Today is, of course, Friday, March 5th. It's the 64th day of 2021. There are 301 days left in the year. Today's highlight in history: on March 5th, 1953, Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin died after 3 decades in power. On this date in 1770, the Boston Massacre took place as British soldiers who'd been taunted by a crowd of colonists opened fire, killing 5 people. In 1868, the impeachment trial of President Andrew Johnson began in the U.S. Senate with Chief Justice Salmon P. Chase presiding. Johnson, the first U.S. president to be impeached, was accused of high crimes and misdemeanors stemming from his attempt to fire Secretary of War Edwin M. Stanton. The trial ended on May 26th with Johnson's acquittal. In 1933, in German parliamentary elections, the Nazi Party won 44% of the vote. The Nazis joined with the Conservative Nationalist Party to gain a slender majority in the Reichstag. In 1946, Winston Churchill delivered his Iron Curtain speech at Westminster College in Fulton, Missouri, in which he said, "From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an Iron Curtain has descended across the continent, allowing police governments to rule Eastern Europe." In 1963, country music performers Patsy Cline, Cowboy Copas, and Hawkshaw Hawkins died in the crash of their plane, a Piper Comanche, near Camden, Tennessee, along with pilot Randy Hughes, Cline's manager. In 1977, President Jimmy Carter took questions from 42 telephone callers in 26 states on a network radio call-in program moderated by Walter Cronkite. In 1982, comedian John Belushi was found dead of a drug overdose in a rented bungalow in Hollywood. He was 33. In 1998, NASA scientists said enough water was frozen in the loose soil of the moon to support a lunar base and perhaps one day a human colony. In 2006, AT&T announced it was buying Bell South Corp., a big step toward resurrecting the old Ma Bell telephone system. 10 years ago today, Egyptians turned their anger toward ousted President Hosni Mubarak's internal security apparatus, storming the agency's main headquarters and other offices. 5 years ago, Bernie Sanders won Democratic caucuses in Kansas and Nebraska, while Hillary Clinton prevailed in Louisiana. Republican Ted Cruz won in Maine and Kansas, while Donald Trump was victorious in Louisiana and Kentucky. 1 year ago today, Palestinian officials closed the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem over fears of the coronavirus. Officials ordered a cruise ship with 3,500 people aboard to stay back from the California coast until passengers and crew could be tested. A traveler from its previous voyage died of the coronavirus. Today's birthdays: actor Paul Sand is 89. Actor James B. Sicking is 87 today. Actor Dean Stockwell turns 85. Actor Fred Williamson is 83. Actor Samantha Egger is 82 today. Actor Michael Warren turns 75. Actor Eddie Hodges is 74. Singer Eddie Grant is 73 today. Rock musician Alan Clark of Dire Straits turns 69. Actor-comedian Marsha Warfield is 67. Magician Penn Jillette turns 66. Actor Adriana Barraza turns 65 today. Rock singers Charlie and Craig Reed of the Proclaimers turn 59 today. Pro Football Hall of Famer Michael Irwin is 55. Rock musician John Frusciante is 51 today. Singer Rome is 51 as well. Actor Kevin Connolly turns 47. Also 47, actor Ava Mendez. Actor Jill Ritchie is 47 as well. Actor Jolene Blaylock turns 46 today. Model Nikki Taylor is also 46. Actor Kimberly McCullough turns 43 today. Actor Carolina Windra turns 40. Singer-songwriter Amanda Shires is 39. Actor Domingue McElligott, I'm not sure, 35 today. Actor Sterling Knight turns 32, and actor Jake Lloyd is also 32 today. It's 9:27. We're going to move on to the fun part of our mid-show, the zodiac. If you're a Pisces, you can think twice before you do something that will cause an uproar. Bide your time. Let tempers cool down and consider the best way to maintain a positive outcome. Aries, a joint venture will not turn out to be what you expected. Question who is responsible for what before you get involved in something risky. Eliminate unstable situations. Taurus, you'll have some innovative ideas that can quickly spin out of control if you let your emotions intervene. Stick to tried and true methods and eliminate pie-in-the-sky plans. Gemini, an open mind will lead to helpful information when in a competitive situation. Reveal little about yourself, and you will maintain the upper hand when it comes to an opportunity. Cancer, keep your head screwed on straight when it comes to affairs of the heart. Mixing business with pleasure will lead to trouble if you share personal information with someone at work. If you're a Leo, approach change with caution. Consider who will benefit most before you commit to anything. Uncertainty is a good enough reason to reject a proposition. Virgo, let your intuition guide you, and you will avoid being taken advantage of by someone with ulterior motives. Put greater emphasis on a healthier lifestyle and keeping up with the trends. For Libra, put more energy into personal improvement and financial gain. Refuse to let someone railroad you into something that will create problems with a friend, colleague, or relative. Scorpio, a change will be refreshing. Look for safe forms of entertainment that will take your mind off stressful situations. Problems with someone close to you will require adjustments on your part. For Sagittarius, put more trust in what you are capable of doing and less in those who talk big and offer little. An energetic approach to work, educational pursuits, and social matters will pay off. Capricorn, embrace a pastime that boosts your confidence and energy. Physical fitness will affect how you view life, love, and the future. Don't let what doesn't work bother you. And finally, Aquarius, don't make changes to accommodate someone who doesn't do the same for you. Concentrate on mental and physical stimulation that will result in intelligence and good health. The horoscope, of course, is an entertainment feature, is not based on scientific fact, but still fun nonetheless. Let's see, it's 9:30. We're going to move on to state news this morning. Zachary Mann denied bail in fatal shooting, an article by Joe Guyon Jr., staff writer. A Zachary Mann accused of fatally shooting his estranged wife's new boyfriend outside her home last month was ordered held without bail Thursday, and a prosecutor said the woman is now in witness protection. The February 6th shooting occurred a week after a restraining order was issued prohibiting Jeffrey Neff from going within 100 yards of the property on Hidden Pass Drive, where he had lived with his wife and children until their separation. That separation came amid recent escalating abuse, court records indicate. Neff, 34, is accused of shooting Kylan Givens, 32, to death with a rifle and then fleeing the Hidden Pass Drive scene. East Baton Rouge Parish Assistant District Attorney Melissa Morvant told State District Judge Fred Crifasi during a Gwynn's Law hearing on Thursday. Neff surrendered February 22nd. The hearing was held to determine whether Neff should be granted bail. Gwynn's Law was created to evaluate whether defendants have the potential to harm a member of their family or the public. Morvant argued that Neff, who was booked on a second-degree murder count, is not only a flight risk but also a danger to the community. The charges are as serious as they get, she told the judge. I believe he is a serious risk to the community and should be held without bond. Neff's attorney, Ron Haley, argued that Crifasi could put Neff under strict house arrest and order him to wear an ankle monitor. Haley added that Neff would not have turned himself in if he had any intention of running away. The judge, however, sided with Morvant and said Neff must be held without bail. The prosecutor said the woman is in the district attorney's office's witness protection program. Morvant cited a January 21st incident in which, according to Neff's estranged wife, he came home drunk and accused her of cheating. When her child asked why Neff had a gun, he replied, "Because they will be carrying her out in a body bag if anyone calls the police on me tonight," court documents state. Later that night, the woman said he threatened her with brass knuckles. Police booked Neff into the East Baton Rouge jail on domestic aggravated assault, then released him on $10,000 bail. The conditions of his bail include issuance of the protective order. Morvant said one of the bail conditions prohibited him from possessing a gun, and the protective order barred him from going within 100 yards of the Hidden Pass Drive home. Neff displayed a total disregard for both orders, the prosecutor told Crifasi. The estranged wife also said that in November, Neff started kicking her car while she and her children were inside, demanding to know where she had been. She drove to the police station and he followed her, then told her, "I got you," but didn't elaborate, according to her account. Neff has past domestic abuse arrests spanning several years. He pleaded guilty in 2018 to domestic abuse battery, court records show. Domestic violence killings across East Baton Rouge Parish have reached a historic high amid the coronavirus pandemic, a trend experts have attributed largely to the pandemic and resulting upheaval of normal life and significant financial pressures. A Gwynn's Law hearing differs from the normal bail setting process. Typically, bail is set based on an accused offender's crime and criminal history. Gwynn's Law requires a full-blown hearing, and it calls on the investigating police agency to have completed an initial report and turned it over to prosecutors. The law is named after Gwen Sally, 39, of DeSoto Parish. Just days before her death, her estranged husband was charged with false imprisonment unlawful possession of a dangerous weapon, and aggravated assault with a firearm in connection with an incident involving her. He was out of jail on bail at the time he fatally shot her and then himself. She was seeking a divorce at the time. In more state news, Landry ordered to release records on aid. Judge rejects lawsuit against advocate reporter. An article by Gordon Russell, staff writer. A Baton Rouge judge has ordered Attorney General Jeff Landry to release public records related to a sexual harassment investigation of one of his top aides in an unusual lawsuit in which Landry sued a reporter for seeking the records. Judge Tim Kelly of the 19th Judicial District ruled in favor of the advocate and the Times-Picayune reporter Andrea Gallo on Thursday, saying he would release the relevant records after making redactions that might identify witnesses, victims, or bystanders. The records relate to complaints filed against Pat McGee, head of the office's criminal division, whom Landry disciplined in January after the complaints were investigated by an outside law firm, Taylor Porter. Landry sued Gallo on February 5th, almost 2 months after she filed a request under Louisiana's public records law, seeking the records of complaints about McGee as well as records showing how those complaints were resolved. Landry's unusual reverse lawsuit attracted national attention, prompting a story in the Washington Post and a critical statement from the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press. A number of other media organizations and institutions also filed amicus briefs supporting the newspaper, including the Lens, Gray Media Group, the Louisiana Press Association, and Tulane Law School's First Amendment Clinic. In addition to releasing the records, Kelly ordered the Attorney General's office and thus taxpayers to pay reasonable attorney's fees of $5,625 to Scott Sternberg, who represented Gallo. The judge rejected a request from Sternberg to find that Landry's office had acted in an arbitrary and capricious manner and assess a fine of $100 per day going back to December 14th, the day Gallo filed her records request. Kelly's ruling came after a roughly 2-hour hearing at which Alicia Wheeler, representing Landry, argued that the Attorney General was not trying to get in the way of the public's right to know or to attack the free press. Wheeler said the office's lawyers determined that much of the information Gallo sought was protected by a constitutional right to privacy. Wheeler also argued that if complaints filed by government employees were subject to public disclosure, it would have a chilling effect on workers' willingness to file them. Sternberg countered that what dampens employees' willingness to file such complaints is the feeling that their bosses and other higher-ups are not being held accountable. The newspaper's inquiry, he said, is aimed at helping the public to understand whether the McGee situation was handled properly. Kelly agreed. It is paramount that the public have trust that our government is transparent, he said. And thus, the process of the investigation into this matter would require that the public know that what all of the allegations were and to balance that in their minds against what the authority in charge, whoever makes the decision on discipline, whether that was an appropriate decision given the circumstances. McGee was placed on administrative leave December 14th. He returned to work in January. He has been ordered to attend training sessions on leadership, professionalism, and conflict management and had his pay docked by $20,559. Landry's office initially told Gallo it planned to provide the requested records and then said it would not, citing privacy provisions. The newspaper suggested redacting names and other information that might identify victims or witnesses, but said the offices had to turn over the records and threatened a lawsuit. Landry opted to sue first, seeking a declaratory judgment to make the records off limits. He also asked that court records in the matter be sealed and that Gallo be assessed fees. As the hearing got underway, Wheeler abandoned the effort to seal the proceedings, which were held virtually and watched by dozens of people. Instead, she requested that names of any witnesses or victims who might have complained about McGee not be uttered aloud. Both sides agreed. Still left unsettled Thursday was the resolution of whether Gallo is entitled to another set of documents she requested. The document that Kelly ruled Thursday must be made public was described as a raw written complaint about McGee. But Gallo also sought records related to how the investigation was handled, which might include things like records of interviews with witnesses, victims, and other personnel, and perhaps a summary of the investigation's findings. Gallo has not received a response from Landry's office regarding those materials, but other people who requested them have gotten responses saying the office does not have the records. Rather, Taylor Porter, the law firm Landry hired to handle the McGee matter, has them. The office's public records coordinator, Asel Nachabi, has written to requesters. These documents are protected by the attorney-client and work product privileges as well as right to privacy, Nachabe wrote. Additionally, we reserve the right to assert additional exemptions after reviewing the document. The only document Landry's office has been willing to make public so far is a brief summary of Taylor Porter's conclusions and the discipline meted out to McGee. Peter Kovacs, editor of the newspaper, which paid for Gallo's defense, hailed Kelly's decision. Private citizens should not fear a lawsuit every time they ask a powerful politician for public records they are entitled to under the Louisiana Constitution, Kovacs said. So we are pleased with Judge Kelly's ruling that the sexual harassment complaint filed against one of Attorney General Jeff Landry's key leaders is indeed a public record, and for the judge's decision to make Mr. Landry's office pay legal fees for the defense of the suit. The losers are the Louisiana taxpayers who will foot the bill for the plaintiff and the defendant in Mr. Landry's unnecessary legal assault against Andrea Gallo. Sternberg also applauded the ruling and said the lawsuit was unnecessary. The judge got this one absolutely right, he said. The Attorney General could have simply redacted the names of the victims and released this document to us. The public has a great interest in the conduct of a high-ranking individual or official like Mr. McGee. Sternberg noted that all citizens are entitled to public records, but not all of them have the means to hire lawyers. He said he hopes Kelly's ruling will discourage other governmental bodies from filing copycat suits. The Attorney General set a dangerous precedent by suing a requester, and fortunately, the judge ensured he paid for it, he said. It is my sincere hope that the legislature and public officials take note. Landry's office issued a statement after the ruling, noting that Kelly had found the Attorney General had followed the letter of the law in its response to Gallo. The office does not plan to appeal, a Landry spokesperson said. It's a Louisiana Grammy party, and you're all invited. This is a staff report. Louisiana's nominees will take the virtual stage for a Louisiana Grammy celebration at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser and the Louisiana Office of Tourism will be hosts for the online event. The show will be simulcast across Louisiana Travel's social channels and through a partnership with the Grammy Museum. The celebration also will be available on the museum's official streaming service, Collection:*Live, and on its Facebook page. Louisiana is home to some of the greatest music in the world. Every year, talented Louisiana artists are nominated for Grammys, and we are excited to celebrate these artists and share performances by some of our nominees, Nungesser said. This was also an excellent opportunity for us to support these artists and venues that have been struggling during the pandemic. The show's 4 performances, originating from attractions around the state, together represent a dozen-plus Grammy nominations. Viewers will watch Bobby Rush sing from the Delta Music Museum in Faraday, the New Orleans Night Crawlers at the Music Box Village in New Orleans, Sweet Cecilia from Blue Moon Saloon in Lafayette, and Kenny Wayne Shepherd with Buddy Flett at the Shreveport Municipal Auditorium. Also, Nungesser will speak from the New Orleans Jazz Museum. In addition to enjoying performances by these talented artists, viewers will learn a little history about the culture and music of Louisiana and the role some of these venues have played in both, according to a news release. It's important for us at the Grammy Museum to highlight all aspects of music history and the cultural impact behind those genres. We are excited to partner with the great state of Louisiana during Grammy Week to highlight Grammy-nominated Louisiana-based musicians who have inspired the next generation of artists, said Michael Sticka, president of the Grammy Museum. Louisiana Travel will award prizes to watchers on Facebook before and during the show. Catch the event on one of the following platforms: Louisiana Travel Facebook page, Louisiana Travel Twitter, Louisiana Travel Instagram and YouTube, Grammy Museum Collection:live website, Grammy Museum Facebook page. For event updates, go to the Facebook event page. Right, it's 9:46. Drive on in to John Schneider's new movie theater. This is an article by Judy Bergeron, staff writer. Been to a drive-in movie lately? Probably not. Well, John Schneider wants to change that with the new Stars and Cars drive-in cinema at his studios in Holden. After a soft launch a few weeks ago, the grand opening celebration is this weekend with double features on Friday and Saturday nights. Two things I've missed since I was a teenager are drive-in movie theaters and Southern horsepower comedies, Schneider said. I'm proud to say that both of them now exist right here in Holden in John Schneider Studios. One of those comedies, Maven Entertainment's recently released Stand On It, will be shown at 6 p.m. Friday, followed by a Q&A with Schneider, who stars in the Smokey and the Bandit tribute film. The Michael J. Fox starring Back to the Future starts at 8:30 p.m. The Outdoor Theater, an ongoing addition to actor, singer, director Schneider's facility at 16050 Florida Boulevard, features a 40 by 22-foot screen installed 12 feet off the ground for optimal viewing. The parking area will hold 200 cars. Schneider will also do a Q&A on Saturday after the 6 p.m. screening of another of his independent films, Forgo. Jurassic Park is the second feature at 8:30 p.m. In addition, the Hellcat, a modified Dodge Challenger used to jump the Tickfaw River for a scene in Stand On It, will be on display along with one of the General Lee cars, a nod to Schneider's The Dukes of Hazzard days. Schneider will sign merchandise before and after showtimes. Concession and food also will be sold. You can find admission information online at etix.com. That's etix.com. It's 9:48. Let's see what's happening in sports. A rotating lineup provides depth for UL baseball. Cajuns coach Deggs content with musical chairs approach. This is an article by Kevin Foote, staff writer. With 3 more weeks to play before opening up Sun Belt Conference play at home against Coastal Carolina on March 26th, something is becoming pretty clear about the UL Ragin' Cajuns. Their daily lineup is coming together. It's still far too early to guess what everyone's role will be come May, and frankly, Coach Matt Deggs likes it that way. The next chance to test out his options is a home weekend series against Houston Baptist beginning at 6 p.m. Friday at Russo Park. I equate it to kind of line shifts in hockey, Deggs said. I like to keep guys hungry. I like to get guys an opportunity to bring a spark or rest a guy or bring a little something different. Even in Wednesday's 4-3 road loss to McNeese State, the Cajuns, 7-3, played 17 position players. You'll always have a few of the mainstays in there as long as they're healthy and playing hard, Deggs said. Then you've got some other guys who will continue to push each other and provide a spark. We just have a lot of different guys who can come in and give us a different look. As the season plays out, sometimes a lineup change will come due to injury or a particular matchup with a specific opponent, but some of it will be something most fans never notice. It's also about how hard you're working. How's your body language? How's your energy? Deggs added. Are you ready? I put a lot of stock into stuff that you can't measure and yet we control. If you're taking care of your business, you're going to get a shot. In addition to having many options, Deggs likes the different methods of scoring runs his roster has displayed thus far. We can hit doubles. We've hit home runs, and Tuesday we stole 3 or 4 bases and laid down 3 or 4 bunts, Deggs said. We're not one-dimensional, and we're starting to become pretty good at doing that on command. What I mean is, when the situation calls for it, bang, it's done. I'm starting to see some of that. Houston Baptist brings a 1-6 record to Lafayette, but the Huskies haven't played a home game yet and won't until March 19th. And all 6 losses are to Rice, Texas Tech, and Texas A&M. With that said, since beating Rice 8-7 in the season opener, Houston Baptist has been outscored 51-9. Houston Baptist at UL is 6 p.m. Friday at Rousseau Park, and stream is on SEC+. It's 9:50. Let's take a look at another public service announcement. The Black Pages of Greater Lafayette. The Lafayette Consolidated Government, or LCG, is releasing the latest edition of the Black Pages of Greater Lafayette, a directory of Black-owned businesses. Since the last edition was released in 2019, Black-owned businesses have nearly doubled, increasing from 350 to 650. The publication also includes a few dozen businesses adjacent to Lafayette Parish, mainly the Rain and Breaux Bridge areas. Since 1980, LCG and Delta Sigma Theta sorority have partnered to print the Black Pages of Greater Lafayette every 2 years to promote awareness of products and services, support entrepreneurship, and strengthen the economy. Copies are first come, first served, and will be available at the following Lafayette Consolidated Government locations: Clifton Chenier Public Library at 220 West Willow Street, Lafayette Public Library Main Branch at 301 West Congress Street, Lafayette City Parish Hall at 705 West University, Jesse Taylor Center, 111 Shirley Picard Drive off Mud Street between the fire station and the O.J. Mouton Pool. And funerals today in the Acadiana area: Edna Broussard at St. Edmund Roman Catholic Church in Lafayette at 10:30 a.m. this morning. Maisie Huval at St. Elizabeth Seton Church at 1 p.m. this afternoon. And Paul Moe, Immaculate Heart of Mary Catholic Church at 1 p.m. this afternoon. And Robert Smith at Walter's Funeral Home in Lafayette at 3:30 p.m. This has been Local News Live for March 5th, 2021. I have been your reader, Mandy Ayo. Join us at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on AOC 1, Cypress Street Radio, or the AOC Community Media channel on YouTube. You can read these stories and more at theadvocate.com and find out how to volunteer and more at aocinc.org. Thanks so much.
And we'd just like to thank everybody for tuning in to Local News Live here on AOC Community Media. Also on Cypress Street Radio, you can search your favorite search engine for Cypress Street Radio. Thanks as usual to all of our volunteer readers. Thanks to you, the viewers, for supporting and checking it out. And yeah, stay tuned for Local News Live coming back at you Monday. Everybody have a great weekend.